Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and welcome back to another episode of ModChat. For those who do not know, this here is a podcast I do in two different forms. First of all, it is available in a video visual version here on the Mr. Mario 2011 YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey channels. Secondly, it's also available like an audio-only actual podcast, so you can take it around and listen to it wherever the hell you want to. Simply look up ModChat, all one word, in your favorite podcasting app, host, provider, or platform, and you should hopefully be able to find it. I know it's not available on all of them, but it is available on most of them. Either way, ModChat is my podcast where I come on here and I talk with you all at least once a month about things that are new, interesting, cool, some developments, what have you, in the world of video game modding and video game console modding. Sometimes we do a little bit of show and tell as well, but we kind of just cover a bit of a myriad of different things of, honestly, kind of things that I find interesting, and it's cool that you all find interesting as well, too. Not necessarily a news show, but if you want to use this as your news source, you know what, as long as you're entertained, that's cool. Either way, we do have a good amount of stuff to cover, actually, so I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into this episode now. For our first topic here, I did want to hit something big and something that we've been excited for, but is not out just yet. But you all have heard, I've talked about this several times at this point. This is from Ryan M., otherwise known as Grimdoomer, and he posted here on Twitter saying, I haven't posted anything about the 360 Softmod lately because I've been extremely busy with a number of things, including the Softmod. But now that I'm making good progress, I'm going to share some more information about it. And he does have a video right here accompanying this, so let's go ahead and blow this up here. As you could see, we're just going to kind of paint a picture here, I guess show a picture. This here is an Xbox 360, of course, he's working on, and the Softmod that we have referred to, or I guess he's referring to, but I've talked about a few times on this show and the channel and such. It is not a bad update, it is not bad avatar. This is actually going to be a Softmod that works on cold boot without any soldering, hopefully at least it seems, on the 360 here, and it seems to be hard drive based. So he does have a hard drive hooked up there, but we can continue on. He's turning on the system, and you're going to see right here, there we go, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, and 3 green lights. And we do have a piece of unsigned code running right there. So he was able to get that to go on cold boot, which is fantastic to see. Oh, whoa, okay. Okay, oh, so you know what? And then he's got the NXE dashboard right here. I just realized he was loading that in as the boot animation. That's cool. Okay, that's going to be relevant here in his next few updates. All right, and there's 3. Okay, yeah, that was it. That's really cool. Getting back to it, though, he does state you do not need to modify the firmware of your hard drive to use the Softmod. It should work just fine with any 5400 RPM hard drive. It does not need to be an official Xbox 360 hard drive. You do have to modify some data on the drive, but it won't stop from working on an unmodded console. I'm still waiting for a 2.5-inch 7200 RPM drive to come in to test with before I can confirm if they'll work as well. Right now, SSDs are 100% a no-go. The exploit targets a race condition between when the hard drive is issued a read command and when it replies, and SSDs are way too fast in replying to exploit the race condition. It is possible to modify the firmware of certain SSDs, or hard drives for that matter, to delay the response time for the specific sector the exploit abuses. However, I don't think releasing tools to do this is really beneficial for the world, and I don't really want to invest any more time debugging hard drives or SSDs if I don't have to. For the Softmod, I implemented a number of safety measures to ensure you can always boot the stock OS and recover should anything go wrong. I'm looking at you people who replace the boot animation with an unsigned XEX. Wait a minute, I just realized an unsigned XEX. I don't know who did that. Why would anybody do that? I'm kind of horrified. Okay, continuing on though, he says, there's also a couple of homebrew features I'm incorporating into it. You'll be able to fully customize the boot animation without breaking the console, etc. Still no ETA for release, there's more work and testing that needs to be done. I don't need additional testers at this time. And looking at some of the photos here, this is the one where he was talking about the hard drives here. He was saying that he's waiting for the 7200 RPM drives to come in. So the funny thing is here, it looks like if this is going to be, since this is going to be a hard drive based Softmod exploit, this is really going to be hard drive to the most literal sense. Like, at least right now, I'd be interested in seeing what's going on with this, but at least right now, he's saying here that you really do need a hard drive, like an actual hard drive, like spinning platters in order to do this. I'm so curious, though. I'm really curious how the installation is going to be, because when I had seen this prior, like when I had covered a episode only talking about this, he was modifying the firmware on the hard drives is what it looked like. And it looks like now this has evolved to a point where you don't need to modify the firmware on the drive. So I'm so curious what's going to happen here. He also has another photo right here showing one of these hard drives. It looks like this is actually, I have this adapter. It's hooked up to one of these SATA to USB adapters. Got the hard drive right here. All these points have been soldered into, and it looks like there is a programmer right there. So really interesting to see so far. He also has another newer tweet about this, just a small update here, in which he states, preliminary tests on the 7200 RPM drive are looking good. Boots wicked fast using a quick boot SATA connector too. And we have a photo right here looking at this. And yeah, it shows that he has, it looks like that is a Western Digital Black 7200 RPM drive, and that is loading up and booting into Aurora right there. So super cool to see all of this. I know some people might also be looking at this and maybe calling out saying, oh no, this is obviously a modded system. It's a modded system. Look at his, look at the RGH install right there. And I'll put it like this. I don't know this personally by any means, but I guess I'll just at least say this, right? Even if this is modified on here, I'm sure he's really just doing that for testing reasons and for debugging and just to speed up development. Even if you read through the documentation and how bad update came to be, at first he did his exploiting and testing on a modified system, and once he got it down pretty well, that's when he started moving it over to an unmodified system. So even if he is performing his tests here on a modified system, I wouldn't say that's a big gotcha or a showstopper or anything. If anything, that's just him trying to work a bit smarter and a bit quicker with this. This is really exciting to see, but just like the last time I really highlighted his work on here, I am going to link this page on his website, his donate page, because I'll essentially repeat what I had said before. There's been a lot of people who were saying, hey, can I donate to this guy? Can I donate to Grim Doomer? How can I donate to him? Hey, maybe we can incentivize him further by donating, just things like that. And I'll just say this respectfully, put your money where your mouth is on that. If you like his work, if you like seeing what he's doing, if you're excited about this, if you're really thankful, donate what you can here. It's going to be linked directly on his site. Now to shift gears from the Xbox 360 scene over to the Dreamcast scene, funny enough. This is from Falco Gurgis. I hope I'm saying his name right there. But this has been interesting. He's been one of the people who has worked on several of these impossible ports of the Dreamcast. One of them recently being Star Fox 64 and then Mario Kart 64, and even if he hasn't worked on them like directly, he's at least helped out in some way, and he's been a really prevalent figure in the community there. But he stated here, want to play Mario Kart 64 or Star Fox 64 on the Sega Dreamcast, but don't want to have to go through the hell of setting up a whole GCC toolchain and cross-compiler for SH and building it yourself manually? If so, Christmas has come early for you. Obviously, we can't just straight up distribute pre-built binaries without putting our entire communities and all future DC ports at legal risk. However, we have heard the bitching loud and clear, and we believe we have a solution for you that will simultaneously ease your pain while also covering our asses. The community has come together to create an automated system which allows you to import your N64 ROMs into the browser, auto-generating a CDI or Dreamshell ISO for you from it, which you can then download, sparing you from ever having to compile a line of code manually. Here's a link to the builder for Star Fox 64. The one for Mario 64 is located in its respective GitHub README. And he also states right here, here's a link to the Mario Kart 64 builder. And I totally forgot to mention, Doom 64 also has a builder now, so make sure you check it out as well. And I will say I've never used this before, but just looking at this here, this is the Grand Theft Auto 3 one, for example, where it says, welcome to the DCA3 Liberty Builder for Dreamcast. Follow the instructions to generate a burnable CDI of DCA3 Liberty from a legitimate copy of the GTA 3 game data. So it just goes through all the steps here, saying step 1, to initialize the build environment, run the following code segment by clicking the play button in the top left corner. After a short time, the script will complete, indicated by a green check mark next to the code window and message at the output. And then from here, once that's done, you need to make a folder named Liberty, open up the folder, copy paste the files from your Grand Theft Auto 3 install into the Liberty folder, close it, and once that's all done, from there you just click this play button, and that is, holy crap, that is really easy. Okay, I'm going to be honest, when I was looking at this before, I was looking at it on mobile, so like all of this, you know, it just doesn't, this page does not look nearly as good on mobile, I'll just say that, right? But just seeing it here, no, it's pretty much press play, make sure you have Grand Theft Auto 3 installed on your computer, copy paste the files into a folder, zip it up, and then press play right here, and you have it. Like, even if you don't know anything about compiling or anything, this is impressive. I don't know how long this stuff has been around here for, but this is impressive. Wow. He even has another post here saying, if you have yet to experience our impossible ports of Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City on your Sega Dreamcast, then I have a very special surprise for you today from J.N. Martin. Despite not even being a member of our DCA team, he has taken it upon himself to answer your prayers and implement the same web-based image generation tool as he just released for automatically generating DC-compatible images for Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, and Doom 64. So this is the one I was showing earlier. But he says here, simply follow the instructions provided by the automated build tool, providing your own legally purchased, damn it, assets from either the Steam or PC versions of GTA 3 and GTA Vice City, which will then be uploaded, converted, and then bundled into Dreamcast-compatible CDI or ISO, which you can then download and play. You don't have to compile a single line of code yourself, I promise. So that's stellar. That's awesome. Also, a little bit of my bad on there. I actually, when I was kind of setting all this up, I had this link there earlier and opened up. But I'm going to be honest as well, too. I think Grand Theft Auto 3 is probably the game I'm most excited about, so it works out. My show, my links, I suppose. Oh, and as a fun little thing as well, too, he even said, let's get a round of applause, please, for GIMP Official for adding first-party support to GIMP 3.2 for importing the native PowerVR compressed texture format used by the Sega Dreamcast. So we're still seeing modern, free, and open source programs integrating things like this for the Dreamcast. This wasn't new by any means, but I did want to highlight this here because this was highlighted in this tweet here saying GIMP 3.2 will add support for importing Dreamcast PVR textures. And you see this right here from their information, the changelog here. They state, we've added support for importing PowerVR PVR texture files. This format is most commonly used for Sega Dreamcast games and mods. We'd love to see it. For some news on the Xbox side of house, I am going to say this here. This is linking the Dark One Customs shop here. And I just want to say, disclose and all that, I'm not affiliated with Dark One. Don't know who they are. I don't have any affiliation, like sponsorship, none of that. This is what was linked to me when I was given information about this product here. But this here is Kratos, and it is for the original Xbox. They state here, introducing Kratos by Team Resurgence and Equinox mods. Kratos is the ultimate OG Xbox front button panel replacement crafted in collaboration between Team Resurgence and Equinox mods. It packs a modern feature set into a clean drop-in upgrade for your original Xbox. Now this is wild, just look at these features, right? For features, it has seamless Alexa integration, audio playback support, fully customizable RGB LEDs for front panel status and controller ports, dynamic RGB effects to match your mood or setup, personalized front panel LED colors, mod show integration for ultimate mod control, Prometheus compatible, over-the-air updates for hassle-free upgrades, configurable over a web interface or on the Xbox, WPS enable, comes preloaded with 2 web games, Frogger and Asteroids, and additional features planned in the future. Now if you get one of these kits here, it looks a little something like this. Wow, that is nice. You can you can just see all the details here. I'm laughing just because I'm going to be honest, this is like the type of stuff I'll like geek out over, and sometimes I'll be looking at stuff like this and my girlfriend is like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, this is, you know what, as opposed to looking at not safe for work material, this is the stuff I'm looking at. We'll just put it like that. But yeah, it says included in each kit, if you get one of these, is a Kratos mainboard, Kratos controller boards, well, 2 Kratos controller boards, 1 front panel harness, 1 mod show harness, and 2 controller board connection cables. So it looks like that's how it looks when it's all soldered in, ready to go. It looks like that is the other side of it right there. And then you got those boards right there. Here's the back of them. You You got that one there. These are some good pictures. I like the detail on this. And for the last bit, they say, transform your original Xbox into a fully RGB-powered legend. Kratos isn't just an upgrade. It's a revolution in front panel design. And it is coming soon, so we do know that it is being sold for $49.99 right here, at least. Well, that's US dollars, and that's before shipping and all of that. And aside from that, if you're wanting more information on this, you are going to have to put your email address here. Again, not affiliated with the shop or anything. I just think this is cool. I want to show it. This might get some people interested. We'll see. Something pretty exciting here that just popped up from developer Nighthack, and they say, after 4 years of hard work, we, L&H team, are proud to announce that DSpico, our open source flashcard for the DSi, is officially released. Find all the details on our website, lnhteam.org. And just looking at these pictures here, let's see. So right here, you do have this. There is a switch on the side. You do have a wonderful RP2040 right there. It looks like USB-C up at the top, a micro SD port right there. So that is the first picture. That's how it looks. That is really clean looking right there. It even shows up, it's not even using like a carved out like game header or anything. It just shows up as DSpico, which is really impressive to see. And then it looks like this is how it looks right there once you load it all up. Let's go ahead and check out the website as well. Looking at this here, they do state that this is the world's first open source DSi flashcard. You can check out the hardware, you can check out the software. Discover DSpico. DSpico is a project by the L&H team consisting of two parts, an open source DSi flashcard and an app launcher compatible with many existing DSi flashcards. All components, PCB, software, shell, stickers, and box art are open source, allowing you to build it yourself, modify it, study it, or improve it. You can set up your DSpico if you got the software there. They also have a Discord community right here. And even just looking at the hardware here, oh, that's cool. All right. So it shows this, it uses the RP2040 microcontroller. It has a 2 MB flash memory, a micro... Oh, that's a micro USB port, so not USB-C, my bad. Micro SD card slot, a development port, 2 LEDs, low power consumption, and dual power support. These are some really cool breakdowns of it. I love seeing that. It does show, though, that it is compatible with modified and unmodified DS, DSi, and even 3DS consoles. That's really cool. Our firmware implements a multi-bootloader solution, allowing you to configure up to 2 different bootloaders that will be used depending on which console type, DS or DSi 3DS, you are using. The DSpico firmware takes care of detecting your console and loading the appropriate bootloader. Our firmware does come with support for... You know, I'm just going to spell this out, WRFUXXED as opposed to saying it, an all-access DSi mode exploit that allows DSpico to be run on unmodified DSi and 3DS consoles. With full access to DSi exclusive features, NTR boot for 3DS and DSi is also supported. That is impressive. So not only... I don't know about this exploit here. That might be a new exploit here. But aside from that, you have NTR boot available. So that way you can really like get into that low level recovery on the 3DS. That is really awesome. So this is like, this here really looks like the best flash card that you could get on the market here. If you're looking for a DS flash card, it looks like the DSpico is probably going to be the best one. That is awesome. Now, in terms of PS4 news here, you all might remember that last episode, I ended up showing a kernel exploit that ended up releasing into the wild. It was BDJB based, and it was from the developer The Flow, and it was this sys net control exploit. However, it looks like it even has an official name, and this is coming from him. It is called, and I'm not kidding when I say this, Poopsploit. I don't know why it is called that, but that is certainly what it's called. And you know what? In terms of this and the tutorial, yes, a little bit of a hint right there for what's to come. I guess this is going to be one of the only times I can really drop this reference into here on the channel, and it will be completely relevant.
Look, we're adults in here. You can say it.
Poop?
You said poop! I said! Fred, I said poop in here!
Poop!
Getting back to it though, we do have a new jailbreak for the PS4 out in the wild. It is working up to firmware 12.52, and you can get at least the base version of it here, the HinLoader LP itself, from the Gold Hin repository over on GitHub. Now this is really cool because this is certainly a name I was not expecting here. So you can see some of the credits. You do have the flow for BDJB and the Poopsploit releases here. However, the person who ended up making this ISO possible here was 15432, someone who, as someone who is big into the Xbox 360 scene, is a bit of a legend thanks to his work on RGH3. So that's been really awesome to see. But he was the one who ended up getting this implemented here on PS4. Now, essentially, this is kind of the same good old BDJB that you might know and love. There is a short README right here, but you really just need to go over to releases. There is this ISO. You can download it, burn it to a Blu-ray disc, and from there, you can pop it into your PS4 and you can jailbreak it. Now, the thing is, right now, there are a lot of ISOs that are floating around. There's people who are taking this, they're adding some improvements to it, they're doing kind of some all-in-one type things, they're doing different bundles and such. I do have one ISO that I preferred because it seems to be pretty feature-rich and it has a pretty nice UI on here, but even if you just use this one, it works well enough. So this one also has Goldhin already integrated into it, so if you ever want to update Goldhin in the future, you will need to use like FTP or a USB drive to update it. However, really all you need to do, as long as you have a PS4 running firmware 9.00 up to 12.52, you just need to go here, download this ISO, burn it to a Blu-ray, pop it in, and go. That's all, man. That is all. It's awesome to see. And so far, from my experience, it works pretty dang well, and it is stupid fast. It is stupid. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this. Like, it is so fast. I don't think they should have called it the poops exploit. They might as well have called it diarrhea exploit because of how fast it works. Like, it works at lightning speed when it does work properly. And if that's not enough here, developer Gajina, who is responsible for getting the jailbreak that we've been using up to 12.02 on the PS4, and they've even done PS5 work as well, they posted here first ever 13.00 jailbreak, thanks to the Goldhin team for getting Poopsploit working on 13.00. And you can see right here, if I bring up this photo here, they are running firmware 13.00 and they have Goldhin up and running. And they do give credit here saying 15432 for the Hinloader LP Poopsploit PS4 implementation, and then the flow for the original Poopsploit. Is this whole episode just going to be a shitpost? I don't know. And if you need some video evidence of here, they even say here another PS4 BDJB exploit, not PS5. Hope Sony can pay this faster, not like 6 months. So if we go ahead and look at the video here, this is before they had Goldhin running, but if you check this out, we'll go to the beginning. They are running system software 13.00. They're going to close out of it. They're opening up BDJB4. This is up to 13.02. So they're firing it up. Let's just wait and see. All right. There we go. Jar loader listening on port 9025. Oh, hello from 13.00. And that is showing that it was jailbroken. And of course, we're seeing this in combination from their previous photo, which showed that they had Goldhin working on 13.00. So that does mean for anybody who might be on one of the higher firmwares, let's say you're not on 12.52, but you're on 13.0, or you're even on 13.02, this is me saying here, and other people should be saying this as well too, if you're wanting a jailbreak on your PS4, disconnect it from the internet, stop messing with it, and you should hopefully have one here whenever this one is released, because we do see evidence of this. Gajina also states here that this should work up to the latest PS4 firmware. So we are going to have to wait a bit longer, at least for this one here, because they are disclosing it to Sony. Since it does work on the latest firmware 13.02, it's not going to be released just yet. So typically the way this works is what they're going to do is disclose it. Hopefully they're going to be able to get a reward for it, and then hopefully they can then do a release or a disclosure of some kind, or drop enough hints that other people in the scene will be able to essentially rebuild this here. And that's typically what happens. But hey, Gajina, get that money, and everyone else can just be patient while they wait for this. Now this here is pretty new, and this is an announcement, not a release just yet, but this is still from Gajina, who has, well, ended up reposting this. And I guess originally it came from Zeko Shao here, but Zeko Shao here was stating that PS4 Vue is hackable. And if we look right here, they do have a photo showing the PlayStation Vue application, and then you have UWU right here and an OK prompt. So this is just showing that they are able to manipulate this application in some way in order to, well, do what we want it to and exploit it from there. Now, Gajina is stating that this works all the way from firmware 1.76 all the way to the latest userland exploit without a disk drive. You don't need a license. The PS4 PS4 already has it, and you do need to use a backup restore similar to Y2JB if you don't already have a jailbreak. So just keep this one in mind here for people who might get excited for this. This is cool, don't get me wrong, but if you have a stock PS4 which has not been jailbroken, you are going to have to wipe the system in the process because you'll have to restore from a backup, which will be provided once this is released, I'm sure. They were hinting at this earlier, but they did also state here that this is WebKit-ish, but it's not WebKit, and there's a high chance Poopsploit will not work on this for the same reason as Y2JB, Netflix, as well as Lua. And in short, that is because Poopsploit is specifically for BDJB, which is currently working up to 12.52. So I'm going to reference console mods here for their getting started section for modifying a PlayStation 4, but just looking at what we have right here, we do know that this works at minimum on firmware 1.76, which that is a throwback, but going to the latest userland option, I'm just looking here, more than likely, because we want to use the latest firmware available right now, the latest jailbreak at the time of recording this is going to be the BDJB entry point up to 12.52. However, at the current time of recording this, what is out right now, if you do not want to use BDJB or you cannot use BDJB, it looks like Lapse would be the option unless we get something else, and Lapse works up to 12.02. So if you're someone who is waiting on this PlayStation Vue entry point and maybe you're on 13.00 or 13.02, don't expect to be able to utilize PlayStation Vue with this unless we get another exploit available, which is not BDJB. Now, I had previously discussed this before. This is Earth Onion's Netflix and Hack, in which, similar to how this was on the PS5, where the PS5 has Y2JB, which you can jailbreak the PS5 using the YouTube application, there's also a way you can do the same thing here using the Netflix application. I'd covered it in the last episode here, but the thing is, there's now a PS4 implementation of it. Although, keep in mind, before you all get super excited, it looks like it's going to be a bit more of a setup, and I'm just going to tell you all, just get yourself a Blu-ray disc. It's probably going to be the better way of doing it. However, they state here for compatibility, before proceeding, ensure the following. 1. Netflix with a license is installed on your PS4 below the latest version. If you have an existing jailbreak, simply install the vulnerable version for your region. This is useful if you can't get BDJB or are stuck using pp-pwn. If you are on the latest firmware, you can downgrade Netflix via man-in-the-middle by downloading from PSN. You cannot jailbreak, but you'll be prepared if a new kernel exploit comes out. And this currently works between firmwares 8.00 and all the way up to 12.02 because this does require the Lapse exploit to work. So they do have the instructions on how you can do this on PS4 if you're interested in using Netflix and Hack as your entry point, but do keep in mind that in order to do this, like it states here, you do need Netflix with a license already installed on your system. This one is a bit out of left field here, not necessarily to do with console modding, but this here is GTA4 RTX from developer XOXOR4D. And this here is the RTX Remix Compatibility Mod, made specifically for NVIDIA's RTX Remix. It is compatible with Grand Theft Auto 4 The Complete Edition, specifically version 1.2.0.59. And just looking at this, like, wow. That looks incredible. This is Grand Theft Auto 4 right here, and this is on PC, mind you, but they state here for the overview, first and foremost, this is not a remaster. It is a mod that allows the game to be modded with NVIDIA's RTX Remix. It does not come with enhanced assets. This means no PBR materials nor higher quality meshes. There are obvious drawbacks and things that will just not work with such a new title, so don't expect this to be perfect. RTX Remix has a certain overhead because of how it works and intercepts the game's draw calls. You'll experience CPU bottlenecks because of the amount of detailed meshes the game is rendering, which means that the performance you'll see in certain places is not entirely due to path tracing. The mod comes with a custom remix runtime required for a few game-specific features, and with Ultimate ASI Loader to load the compatibility mod itself. And just naming off a few of the things here, they state the good, most objects rendered via fixed function to increase performance, all game lights including the sun are translated to remix lights, working vehicle, dirt, and livery. Mobile phone works, but it is in 3D and currently scales with the camera FOV, screenshot modes and free cam mode are available, fusion fix compatible, many tweakable settings via the in-game F4 menu, but the bad things to look out for are that the CPU is bottlenecked, the mobile phone UI looks a little bit broken, anti-culling is not perfect yet, TVs are not working, and there's no blood on pedestrians. But just looking at some of the photos here, I can blow this up like that. Wow, that looks incredible. This is a game from 2008. Wow. We got this as well too. Yeah, that looks incredible. That is awesome. And if you're wanting to install this here, we can go over to the releases section, and they do have the information here. So not only the latest release, you have another script. That looks beautiful. That just makes this game look like a little work of art. Look at that. But you do have the instructions right here to get it installed. So if you're wanting to try this out on your own copy of Grand Theft Auto 4, just go ahead, download this, read the instructions, and give this a shot here. Now, at the end of these episodes, if I'm able to, I like to show something that is cool, interesting, funny, random, in the world of video game modding, video game console modding, or even kind of tangentially related here. And this ended up just throwing me for a loop, and I was really excited seeing this. I'm gonna say here, I'm familiar with some of Lil Yachty's work, not really a huge fan, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not gonna knock it either, and I'm just not a wrestling fan at all. But this ended up catching my attention. They stated here, this is on the WrestleOps Twitter account, which I never thought I'd reference here. They state here, Lil Yachty shows off his PSP with SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 on it. And that is what happened. You can see the screenshot right here. It is blurry, mind you. But if you look at this here, that is a PSP. It looks like that looks like a 3000 to me. It probably is. It looks like a PSP 3000 running custom firmware, running SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. And even this person here, Kepler tweets, they end up saying Lil Yachty brought a whole ass PSP with SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. And there is a quick video here, so we're certainly going to play this. But you can see Lil Yachty, he's looking up, he notices he's getting noticed. There we go. Everyone's excited, and boom, this is the most exciting part right here. Look at that. I mean, very blurry, but mind you, you can see it right there. He's bringing up the PSP with it on there. Now, the funny thing is, the most exciting thing for me on this was I started posting this, I was sharing it around, and I was saying, hey, Lil Yachty has custom firmware on his PSP. And there were some people who were wondering, like, how I could tell, because there was no, like, super obvious tell on this. But I'll show you, you can most certainly tell here. The first thing just from this photo, this is within the memory stick column. So this is not a UMD. He ended up going to the game column. He went to the storage right there, so the memory stick, and he's loading up this game with all the other games right here. On top of that, some people might also say, well, there were digital games that were available on the PSP, and while that is true, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 was never released digitally, which shows here that Lil Yachty is running custom firmware, and that here is exciting. I know in the last episode, we showed Don Toliver running the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas port on his modded Vita, so you know what, we're going back even further, we got Lil Yachty with his modded PSP. Love to see it. Here we are. This is going to be the last episode of ModChat for this year. I know some people might have gotten a little bit scared right there, but unless something else is really going to be happening that I'm wanting to cover, I'm just going to say this is going to be the final episode of the year. This even came out a little later than I wanted it to, but that's just kind of how life goes. But I want to include as much as I could that I was finding interesting from what's happened in the past month or so. Either way, if you've made it to the end of this episode here, first of all, thank you very much. Hopefully you all have a great time celebrating whichever holidays you're going to be celebrating the new year as well too. Please stay safe with that, and hopefully we can keep doing this here in 2026. So I guess I'll just see you all next year. Now, typically at the end of these episodes, if you've made it to the end of one of these before, you already know how it goes. And if you've never made it to one of the ends of these episodes here, I like to pick a keyword or a key phrase, and that way I like to use it as a bit of a keyword, so you all can use this in the comment section, and as I go through comments, I'll know who made it to the end of this episode. And you know what? Typically, I do pick something off my desk, so I preemptively already picked this here. I don't think I've ever showed you all, but this here is a little, depending on where you purchase it from, it could be known as a little dog, or just like a little Shiba, or a Mame Shiba Inu right here. But this is one that the last time I was in LA, my girlfriend and I, we ended up going to a shop, and I saw a wall of these, and I just freaked out. I made some kind of just wild explanation over how cute these guys were, end up scaring a mom and her daughter in the process, but end up getting this little Sakura one right here. So this little Mame Shiba is adorable and just like lives on my desk here. So how about this? Let's use the word plushie. Do you have a favorite plushie? Do you have a plushie collection? Do you have, I guess, any of these that sit on your desk? You know, real quick, I'm gonna put in a picture of this as well too. I end up getting these 3 Squishmallow plushies, which were adorable as well. You could see here from the picture, they were Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. They were gamer versions of them as well too, and I just thought these plushies were awesome. And I used to love collecting plushies and such as a kid. Obviously, I don't really do so now. I still have a few around the house that have like some sentimental value or something, but for the most part, no. I was happy though to get this bug out of there, just because I saw them, they were pretty affordable, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to decorate them. Like, I end up putting them in the Christmas tree for like 2 days, and then I got rid of them because I end up donating them. We end up going to an event where they were accepting toys for kids and such, so it was kind of win-win overall because I end up seeing these and I was like, I really want to get them. I kind of got that spontaneous little spending bug out of me, got to enjoy them for a few days, and I was like, you know what, now they're going to go off to some kids who will hopefully enjoy them even more, and that makes me pretty happy. So let's talk about plushies in the comments section. How about that? Either way, that is about it for this episode of ModChat. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too. As I always say though, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for listening and watching, everyone. And until next year.